everyone. As we are implementing some of the important concepts here related to test automation, now we have reached here that we are able to get the test data from the Excel sheet that I have shown already. But now, how to use it in the test case? Okay. So the thing is, we have to break this um, problem. You have to break this problem, in two to three different parts because getting the test data or anything from the Excel sheet, it is not related to purely like Selenium task. It is simple Java code. Okay. But then how you can use it in a test case, you have to make it now step by step. Okay, so let's break this. Let's break this. So what are the things we have to do? First thing, get data from Excel sheet. That is for sure. Okay, so you have to check that you are able to get the data. And basically, when I say get data from Excel sheet, it should be getting a row, getting a row from a sheet where the test data is present. Okay. Second part is um, use the data or the test data uh, in data provider. So you should know the concept about data provider. In data provider. Okay. Now, the third thing is create test case. Okay, so when we say create test case, it's like with the @ annotation in testng that we have already seen how you create the test case. Um, the last part is um, get data from data provider and use in test case. So when I say test case, it's always with @ test annotation, which you have in testng. So let's do these things one by one. So get data from the Excel sheet. So let's understand that you can write your own helper class. You can write your own helper function class, let's say, which will be used just to get the data from the Excel sheet. So here, create a package, let's say, utility in your test framework. Create this, a package called utility, and you can create helper functions. You can name anything, but helper functions is fine. And then what you can do is create the code to read about your Excel sheet, read the data from the Excel sheet. So for example, I have created this. I'm not going into this line by line, but let's understand that this particular function, whenever you will call and provide the sheet number and test case. So let's open that. So let's assume that this is my Excel sheet where I have sheet number, sheet one, sheet two, but basically it's sheet zero. Okay. When you will work in the program, it's basically sheet zero and this is sheet one. So what I want is based on my test case number, I want this data. So when I will pass test 001, I should get this row. If I'll pass test 002, I should get this particular row. So this code I have written where you will pass the sheet number and the test case ID. So when I say test case ID, it is actually test case number you have to pass, and based on that, I am fetching the row data and then checking whether that cell value, a particular cell value, let's say it will check one by one, right? So it is checking at a particular cell value when it will be same as test case ID, which I will pass into the function. Um, at that point, what I'm doing is I want data in a list and I'm passing the whole row. So once I am in this row, right, what I'm doing is I want to get all this data, right? So calling another function just to get that data in a list. So this get data in list basically will accept a row, and from that row, we are just fetching every cell and returning it, right? So I'll get this and this and this, and or if I'm passing test 002, so I'll get all these three values. And once I get it, I'm just returning it, having it into the list and returning it. So wherever I will call this function, I will get the data in a list of string. That's it. Now, uh, let's understand now that what is our test case. Our test case is basically this, where I will open this particular test website, then click on the login and provide the user ID and password. Okay. So what we are going to do is we will get the user ID and password from the Excel sheet and we will use it. So as I said that you have to break this into four parts, getting the data from the Excel sheet or getting a particular row. So this is what I was showing. Okay. So what we are doing, we are creating another class because this is not related to Selenium code, right? Nothing related to Selenium code here. It's simply reading the Excel sheet through the Java code and getting the data in list format. Okay. So this code I'll put, don't worry, I'll put this code in my repository. So I have my GitHub account with uh, Nitesh Jain 007. This is my um, username here. And I've created one repository, Selenium Automation 2024. There I'll put the whole code, don't worry. So what we are doing here, but we are creating one data provider, giving the name as login data. What this will do? What this will do? Let's understand that. Let me first basically comment out this code so that I'll make you understand the other thing then. So let's understand that there is a simple data provider which will simply return this data. Okay, so for data provider part, you can go to some of my other videos in Selenium is easy playlist in YouTube. So that link I'll give in description. Don't worry. So the thing is, you can return the test data directly like this. But this is again hard coding. Okay, you're doing hard code. And how you can use this, you can simply use it. Let's say if you are creating a test case, you can say that my data provider is this. Okay, so here is your data provider, and you have provided the with @data provider annotation, you are putting the name login data. In your test case, you want to use it. Okay. Where is this data provider is present? It is under helper function class. Fine. Now, from here, because this is going to give you two data, this one and this. So you have to accept it somewhere. You have to accept it somewhere. So you are accepting the first value as email and second value is password value. And then the simple code to open the website, clicking on the login link, then putting the user, finding out that particular text box, putting the email, then putting the password, clicking on the login, and so on. So it's like the same value which you will get from the data provider. We are using it here. And there are some code to click on that login button, then and then checking, actual error message. Because once you will provide, let's say, we'll say some invalid user ID and password, if you provide, this kind of message will come. So we are just checking that whether that error message is coming or not using assertion. Fine. So here we are not getting the data from the Excel sheet. I have commented this code. I'll explain this thing, but let's understand that if you can hard code it like this also in the data provider, and you will observe that this user ID and password will be passed. So let's run this. Let's run this code. Yeah. So if you see here, test@yahoo.com, and this password has come test@123, which we have passed it basically. Uh, Let me show you the code again. This one, we passed this thing, right? I couldn't think. We have not get it from the Excel sheet. Now we will see the Excel sheet code. So let's comment out this now and let's understand what we are doing here. Okay. What we are doing here is, as I know that my object array will have one row and two columns. So if you see here for this particular kind of test case, I have to get, basically these two data, the email and the password. So what we are doing smartly is, okay, read the data from the sheet 0 and the test case number 002. So basically we want to read this. So what we are doing is this get test data will get you the data of that particular um, row. Okay, it's a very simple code. See, just 70 lines of code. In fact, less than that, it will give you that. Then it's basically what we are doing is in the data we are putting uh, the first get one means it will get this particular thing, the email part of it. Okay, when I say test data dot get to, it will be this because it's a list of string, right? So I have all these three values, right, from this row, but I don't want to get the test case number. I want to get directly email and passwords. So that's why we are putting it, these two values only and returning it. That's it. Now, with the same test case, I will be able, you don't have to change anything here because you are dependent on the data provider. So now the data provider will actually fetch the data from the Excel sheet and then get it. So for different test cases, you may have to create different kind of data provider because for one test case maybe you need the data from the first row. For other test case, maybe you need the data from some other sheet, right? Maybe from here you get some because different sheet may have the data for the different kind of test cases. It's very much possible. Here, Now, if we will run, it will fetch this gh@ts.com and this particular password it will pick. I'll show that part now. So let's run this again. Don't worry about this error log. Test cases are executed. See here, gh@ts.com has come. I'm not doing anything manually. It's all automated one. Now let's assume that I want to read the error also. So let's put the error message here. So uh, error message. Okay. So we want that when user will provide some, invalid user ID and password, some kind of error message should be displayed. This one, correct? Let's put this error message as expected error message here. Okay. Okay. And we will read this from the code. So here in the helper function, basically, you have to put one more thing now. Okay. So here we will say data 0th row and second index column should be test data dot get three done. And now when you're using it, basically we will have one more thing. We have string expected error message as well, correct? So here in our code now, let's not hard code this expected error message, delete this line. This error message will also come from the Excel sheet, okay, as an expected error message. And here we are basically already getting the actual error message as a element. So you have this element, right? Yes, element is basically, if you will inspect it, this is having indicator read as class value. Okay, that we have already talked about. This error message is indicator read, span class indicator read, something like that. So that we have handled here. Driver dot find element where the class name is indicator and read. We are coming from the parent, so dot page card head is basically this one. And then inside that there is another class indicator and read. So we are getting the text and then we are checking the actual error message should be equal to the expected error message, which will come from the Excel sheet, this one. So if both are equal, then our test cases are working fine. Let me save this. Now, if I'll run this, all the data will flow from Excel sheet to the test case. Okay, let's run this. Okay, some issue. Maybe this, this the I have opened this Excel sheet. That may be one issue. Let me correct this. I'll close this. Let's run this again. And okay, what is the error? It's saying runtime exception out of boundary exception index 2. Okay, out of bounds of length 2. What mistake we have done? Let me check. Okay. Because in line number 26, we said that there is one row and two column. I should say 1 row and 3 column now. Now it will work. Yes. Let's see now. And we will make it fail also. So yeah, see here, this is coming. This is also coming. Okay. And I think this will get passed. So if I'll see here, everything is green. Let's make it fail. Two things we will do. One is let's get the data from the first row. Why not? So get data from which test case? So get the data from, let's say, test 001. So we will pass this. This is also invalid user ID and password. So same thing, but only thing is we want this data. As well as let's make it fail. So let's assume that you are putting your expect invalid login, but here let's say you are making mistake on your test data itself. It may be possible that you are making the mistake in your test data itself. Okay, so let's change it invalid login, try again. Message. I'm putting some extra thing here. Okay, which is not like a good thing here because this is not the expected error message. Well, that's fine. So let's run this now and to see what will happen. Because at the time of assertion, we are checking the things like uh, if I'll show you the code, we are checking actual error message is matching with the expected error message or not. We are checking. So yeah, test case. See here, the very first row data has come test@test.com and that ABCD has come. But the thing is, if you see here, test cases failed. So it's saying that you got that test data, you got that invalid login try again .msg, that also we got, but it is failed. So you will see the error message. If you see the test10g message here, it's properly saying that error message not equal to the expected but found false. So basically it is showing this particular message. If you see here, error message not equal. This message is displayed when the things are not working. Okay. So this is how assert works. If things are fine, then it will not show you this message. Okay. If things are not working, assertion is not working, then it will show you the message which you are putting it here at line number 37 as a second parameter for your assert true method. That's it. Let me correct it. Basically, it should be, let's go to the test data and it should be this only. Let's make one more test case, test 003 with the email as goi@kk.com, some random user ID and password. And let's say this is simply JKL. And error message is same because for all this, the because it is invalid user ID and password, the error will be same. Okay. I am just putting in into all border here. Now we will pass this because I want this test data. Okay. In my test. So what we will do here is we want the data from here. Okay, if we will not do this thing, what will happen? If you we will not do this thing, there is another way where you will get all these data one by one. That I don't want to do as of now. So we want test 003 this time. So this time you will observe that the new data which we have put, that will be used in the test case. Okay, what is the problem? I'm checking. So here, uh, test 003 is fine. Okay, getting it. Then I think all thing is fine. Uh, we have to save this basically. Let's run this again. Yeah, it's working. So this time, see, goi@kk.com has come, and password that jkl has come, and it should be all passed. Okay, all green. It's working fine. This is how you should use data provider if you are getting the data from the Excel sheet. Thank you.